Okay, good evening. It's 5:33 on February 18th, 2021. And this is the Athens Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Are there any additions or deletions that anyone has? Anything you'd like to add to the agenda at this point in time, or anything that we need to delete? I just have one, and if she is able to join us tonight, after the approval of the minutes, would like to add the following council update from Beth Clodfelder. Beth is our liaison from City Council. She's a non-voting member of the advisory board, but she does bring information from council to us, and then in turn from us to council. Any other items that you'd like to add to the agenda or that we need to delete? Okay, hearing none, could I have a motion that we approve the agenda as amended?
I move that we approve the minutes as amended.
Okay, that'd be good. Greg, do we have a second to approve the agenda as amended?
Second.
Travis? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, the agenda is approved as amended. Minutes. You all received the minutes yesterday. Hopefully had a chance to take a close look at them. Any additions or deletions or modifications that we need to make to the minutes? Could I have a motion that we approve the minutes as submitted?
All motion.
I motion to approve.
Okay, we got Daniel. Shauna, can we get you with a second? Okay, we have a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed, same sign. Okay, the minutes are approved. Has Beth joined us yet? Okay, don't see her, so if we get a chance, we will circle back. Old business. First item on the agenda is the budget committee. We formed this committee last month. The only work that has been done on it so far is that Terry and I sat and talked about priorities. And as soon as the priorities are ordered, then Greg and I and anyone else who would like to join us can get to work on this. But the priorities we identified were community memberships, the pricing structure, pool memberships and the pricing structure, and possibly looking at some consistency for those two. They vary quite a bit in terms of percentages and so on and so forth. But the big item that I would like you to think about that came out of our conversation is the following, and not that we're going to discuss this tonight because I think it's something we all need to think about. But at the current time, the community center has two levels of memberships. Those who live in the city and pay city income taxes, or those who pay city income taxes. That's one category. And then we have those who do not live in the city. They pay a higher amount of premium. When you move right across the parking lot to the pool, what we have is one membership structure for everybody, whether you live in Athens, whether you live in the Plains, whether you live in Nelsonville, whether you drive down from Akron. One of the things that Greg and I are going to need to work on is contacting other municipalities. And Greg, I'll get with you on this so we're not duplicating our work, and seeing what kind of structure they have. And also philosophically, we as a board will then need to discuss at our next meeting. Do we want to have two separate policies, or do we want to have a consistent policy? So I plant that seed in your mind, something to think about between now and our next meeting. And in that time period, Greg and I, and again, anyone else who would like to serve on this committee, will do some research so we can present some facts, best practices, and all that. Also, if you would, Catherine Ann, you gave us a wonderful document a while back. Would you mind resending that to all board members? Because one of the things it talks about in that document is differential pricing. I'm sure everybody has it, but if their emails look like mine, it could take a little while to find it. If you'd be so kind as to send that again to us, that'd be great.
I can definitely do that.
Great. Any questions or comments on the budget part of this. We're just getting started. We've only been this a month. But I did get a call from a couple people at City Hall, and they are very glad that we are now looking at figures and finances and all that as a committee. All right, second matter of old business.
So
Alan,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to let you know I'd be interested.
just
to help
real
out.
quick, go ahead.
Okay. Let's back up. Daniel, I didn't get all of that.
I'd be interested to help out.
All right,
you.
great. I will send the email out to both you and Greg, and we can figure out a plan of action then.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think someone else, Terry, were you about to?
Alan,
Yes.
I am. So Catherine Ann prompted me to dig out this book, John Compton, as I reveal and find more information, I'll push that out to the board. But it's pricing strategies as well. So I'll share. Catherine Ann, thanks for that prompt to revisit that.
Great. Thank you. More resources, the better. Okay, the next item of old business is Friends of APR. And I've got a little inside information here, which makes me very excited, but I'm not going to steal Shauna's thunder because she has worked very, very hard on this. So we'd love to hear from both Shauna and Terry about where we are in the process of Friends of Arts, Parks, and Recreation.
Okay, so we are officially filed with the state and we are officially recognized as an entity. We are the Friends of Athens Arts, Parks, and Recreation. We have a certificate and everything. We're official. So Terry sent me a lot of reading material that I've been going through and looking at getting the board all established and going from there, the next steps. So Terry, you have anything you want to add?
No, not really. Nothing other than my gratitude for you just keeping that moving. I know we hit a lull there, but it feels like going full throttle now. I'm going to continue to look at getting donations because I think that we're going to have you'll have other expenses, startup expenses, and some of those things are identified in that information I gave you. So if I can just continue to get those smaller donations that help establish the startup, then that should make life easier for you as you move through the paperwork.
Shauna and Terry, my question would be, how as a board, either individually or collectively, at this point in time, can we help or support your work? Or is it too early? I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Oh, you're fine. I'm working on trying to figure out the next steps.
My initial thought is,
go ahead, Terry.
and my thought is identifying board members. And Sean and I haven't talked about that. I've just kind of outlined that and suggested that that's something that we're going to need to consider. But really, I think it's important to have a well-rounded board. The Friends of it's fundraising, but it's also, I think, just community engagement and connection and looking at what those partnerships and stakeholders look like as we think about what those fundraising opportunities are. Is it an annual event? So really just thinking about just what that board looks like and bringing in those stakeholders or board members. Because everybody on our advisory board is well connected in the community, and just identifying people or having the conversations and advocating, to to maybe get people interested.
So, and not to put any pressure on anybody, a timeline for forming a board. And I asked that question for this reason. On Monday, I was on the Athens City Schools Business Advisory Committee Zoom call as an interested party. I'm not an official member of that. But to start each of those meetings, we do what's called an industry update, where we go around the room and talk about the respective industries we're in and what's going on. And one of the things that was shared by more than one person is that people are starting to spend money. Corporations, foundations, grant writing places. So I guess what I'm saying is we do want a diverse, well-rounded board, but the sooner we can get that in place, I think the quicker we can tap into that money that's getting spent. There was an interesting article in the Dispatch this week about the Foundation for Appalachian Ohio and the money that they have secured and the money that they are distributing weekly. And living right here in the heart of Appalachia, you would think we might be able to tie into some of that. So finalizing a board, is that a 6-month process, that a 3-month process? How quickly could we do that effectively?
I'm working on drafting letters now and hope to reach out as soon as possible. So, and Terry and I were going to meet and have a discussion for the next step. So I'd like to get on her calendar for next week to, start sending. If I don't get it, what is Thursday? Yeah. So Terry, let me know when you're free next week so we can start this process, get them out there. So
would it be appropriate if any of the members of this board had any possible candidates that they email you those names so that you can cast a very wide net? Or do you think you have a list that's sufficient at this time?
I have a list started, but I'm always open to new ideas. So there's maybe, obviously I don't know everyone in town. So if there are good recommendations, please send them my way and we'll discuss.
Great. Very good. Anything else on Friends of APR at this time? All right, jumping down to new business. If you happen to have your agenda in front of you, you notice it's organized a little differently. It says new business, and there are 3 topic areas: arts, parks, and recreation, which is a board we're responsible for representing equally. Now, there may be times throughout the year where recreation is more of a hot item than arts, but then there may be times during the year that arts are more of a hot item than parks. But over the course of the year, we have a responsibility to the city administration and the taxpayers of Athens to represent all 3. So that's why we've arranged the agenda in this manner. Secondly, as part of each of these arts, parks, and recreation, Terry will have information for us about a variety of things, rather than taking all of her reports and putting them at the end of the meeting. I feel by doing it that way, sometimes we were running out of time. People have other commitments. We forced Terry to kind of rush through some things that are very, very important to us. And when that happens, things often fall through the cracks. So by dispersing her reporting of things into these 3 topic areas, plus any catch-alls at the end, I think we can do justice to the communication from the director to this group. And then we in turn can give her the proper feedback that she desires. So first on the agenda tonight is arts, and I think we'll do that every time. We'll just go alphabetical order, and that way nobody's slighted. But arts, and Brandon was going to give us an update on Arts West and the attempts there to form a Friends of Arts West, but unfortunately he had another meeting night and couldn't make it. Terry, is there anything that you possibly would share with us at that time, or do we want to wait till Brandon's with us? Either way is fine.
Sure, just to share that I've met with the AMAC ad hoc committee about the proposal that they brought forward for AMAC with regard to Arts West. We've agreed to continue to meet likely at least once a month, maybe twice a month. The next meeting is set, I believe, for the 23rd. And yeah, So that's the only update I have. It's ongoing conversation, and yeah.
Right now, Brandon is a member of that ad hoc committee. Is there anybody on this board that would be interested in serving as an additional liaison to AMAC? Before you answer, 6 hands go up. AMAC meets the second Wednesday of every month at 5:30. They have a meeting from 5:30 to 6:30. One of the benefits, if we could have an additional person, in addition to Brandon, is that with people's schedules and things, if we had two, we would always have somebody that would be there. Essentially an hour commitment, much like this committee is, although there is some homework in between, but nothing that's going to, fill your 168 hours in a week. But I think it's very important that we have some kind of liaison with AMAC for the simple reason, historically, some people feel that we put arts on the back shelf. And I really don't think that's necessarily the case. And I certainly will do everything possible to make sure that's not the case going forward. So liaison would be great. Are you stretching or are you raising your hand there, Travis? we're looking for someone who would be interested. And if no one wants to commit tonight, and you want to think about it, that'd be fine. And you can send me an email. Although if somebody wants to nominate somebody tonight, I'll certainly entertain that motion for a nomination.
Alan, I might be interested. I would like to talk to Brandon a little bit more just to see what's expected and and have a clearer idea. So, but yeah, I would.
Well, that would be great. And Travis, when you have that conversation, please make it abundantly clear to Brandon that this is not a replacement. This is an addition to him. Because, as I said, we all have busy schedules and there may be times when one or the other of you can't make it. At least that way we would have somebody there. But I think that would be fair to speak with him. So yeah, great. Terry, can you bring us up to date on the East State Street mural since we're on the topic of arts?
Sure. A while back, there was, I think, conversation in our advisory board meeting about a request to add a mural to the maintenance garage on East State Street, right there at the community center. Great location, blank canvas. I think a mural there. Highly visible. The concern was, one of the concerns was that it's our objective at some point to make that building go away. So the consideration that we may move our maintenance shop and that building may go away. If there was a mural there, it would make it difficult. With that said, the project that Beth Braun is leading, she's a AMAC member. They are moving forward with it. They're going to do the mural in panels, so it could be removed if we were ever faced with demolition of that building. She's working with teachers in the community, students, and a mural artist, and leading that project. I don't have a timeline on it, but I know they're meeting, I want to say, in the next week or two, to kind of formalize that more. But I just wanted to update the board on that project, so we could have a really, really cool mural right there on East State Street.
Well, Beth lives right up the
And
street.
we've eliminated the concern of.
Sorry, go ahead, Terry.
No, I said, and eliminating the concern of let me get him under control. I don't have anything.
Terry's muted, but I think what she was going to say, eliminating the concern of tearing down a beautiful piece of artwork. And If you remember, that is one of the possible locations now of the farmer's market in that whole stretch on the, what would be the east side of the community center property. And I think that's great. Beth lives right up the street from me, and that dog was barking. Reminds me, we tend to walk our dogs at the same time. So the next time we cross paths here in the next few days, I'll ask her about that, and we'll have more to share with you next month. The next two things are parks improvement and recreation, the Sandlot MOU, memorandum of understanding, and both of those are items that Terry's going to share with us. So we're a bit on pause here. So we're waiting for her. Anything, anybody want to, even though we didn't put it on the agenda, anything else we need for the good of the order while we wait for Terry to come back? Here she comes. Okay, Terry, we're back to you, and we've moved down to parks and improvements or anything that you need to share with us in the area of parks, projects, information, updates, programs, anything.
So I can say our park maintenance crew has been heavily focused on snow and ice removal. But prior to that, they've made significant progress at Camp Rotan, removing 2 sheds and cleaning up that parking area to add more parking. Also, they've removed rebar and some of the old fence stakes that were the result of old scout projects. So there's a focus on Camp Rotan and cleaning that up this winter. I know Daniel's been out there and done some work, and Kevin and his crew have removed some of the brush and that Daniel and I believe Mayor Patterson have worked on, and select few other individuals. That kind of wraps up our park projects. Other than that, just getting ready for reviewing job descriptions and those sort of things for seasonal hire. Ideally, we'll hire 6 seasonal employees because they'll be in full mowing mode before we know it. So we're gearing up for that as well with parks.
Any questions for Terry on parks or anything related to parks? Okay, moving down to recreation. The item on our agenda tonight is the Sandlot MOU. Terry?
So I've met with, it's that time of year. I met with 2 board members and 1 other liaison from Sandlot last Wednesday. We talked through the COVID plan, discussed the MOU, and I am working through the MOU, making some changes, and believe that the COVID plan, there's not a lot that needs to change there. And I recently got an email from one of the board members that they had been in contact with the health department with Jack Pepper, and he agreed that that looked good. I have been pretty candid about the need to charge a fee to recoup some of our costs, those being maintenance costs, administrative costs. So we will revisit that conversation. They were going to get back to me, talk to other board members and get back to me, and we'll schedule a meeting likely next week. I know they have some dates that they want to use a community center upcoming in March for coaches meetings, and I'm not sure about registration. We're still under restriction as far as group gatherings and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's where that stands.
At this time, Terry, is there anything you need from this board in regards to the MOU? Or you and the administration handling it? we'll just wait and hear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions for Terry on anything related to recreation? Daniel?
Yeah, did they seem amenable to that?
This is my question.
And then also my second question is, when they have coaches meetings at the community center, do they get the room for free? Has that been brought up?
That was so to answer your first question, Daniel. Yes, to some degree, and I think that some of the board members are agreeable, and then there are others that aren't. I'll just say that. So really, I presented a few different options to them as far as what those fees might look like. And one option was to charge a participant fee for each participant, $5 participant fee. We could then recoup some of our costs as far as additional maintenance. Ideally, in the MOU, we would mow twice a week. That was changed last year to mow once a week. The other option was to have them pay for a seasonal maintenance person. And that way we could designate one person at that park to do field maintenance, trash pickup, trash and recycle, all the things that need to be done down there. The other option was to make a donation to the Friends of. And so that's what I presented them with. I think I like the idea of making a donation to the Friends of. That's a win-win because, I'm hopeful that we have youth scholarships that are paid for out of Friends of. They're a youth organization. So we'll see, and we're not talking about a lot of money with either of those options. I do want to say that we are looking to increase fees across the board, whether with all programs in youth, and that's what the budget committee. I've been talking with Alan about. We don't have the luxury or the option not to. That's the way we have to move forward with some of the budget constraints, and so it's increased fees, and this is a national trend in recreation and parks because most agencies are faced with this, and then reducing costs. Neither one, is a radical move, but it is the direction that we've got to go. So yes, we've been talking about this, with Sandlot in the past, but this year is the year that we've got to do that with not only Sandlot, but every other user that has used the facility at no cost or minimal cost. To answer your question about the coaches meeting and being able to use the facility, that was in the MOU. They've used the facility at no cost.
Any other questions about the MOU?
Thank you.
Anything related to that? Yeah, Daniel?
I was just saying thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, Terry, departmental reports. Anything else that you need to share with us from the department today?
Let's see. I will share. I mentioned budget and what I see trending as far as other agencies across the state, across the country. All recreation and parks agencies are faced. Municipalities and county government are faced with concerns, budget concerns. Particularly impacts arts, parks, and recreation departments. my proposal moving forward is that we look at increasing fees, which is I think the number one priority with this ad hoc budget committee that we've put together, and then looking at how we can reduce costs. And that's everything from staffing to not making purchases of capital items. It's really that's really where we're at. Put this, I didn't really make a lot of changes to the budget that was proposed and submitted for 2021. I made some cuts in some areas, but it can change. So we're being very conservative. I think the auditor's looking at what the income tax looks like in April. That'll be a good indicator. I've had a couple meetings with the mayor and the auditor just to talk through, in particular, what the community center fund looks like. So that's the update on budget. As far as personnel, we've filled the facility operations manager position that was filled internally with an internal candidate that worked in a different department with the city. George Nowicki, he recently completed his certified pool operator certification. We are in the process of reviewing job descriptions and getting those posted for seasonal positions at the pool. So those should be posted early next week, and we'll start hiring. We're moving in full gear for seasonal operations. We typically hire between 23, 28 lifeguards, including head guards. Nice round number there is 25. Something I'd like to see is I would like to tap into teachers that are looking for summer jobs, so we have a good mix of students, teachers, because we don't know, what we're going to have returning. And I know with the students going remote, that may be a challenge as far as recruiting and having that recruiting pool that we've typically had with students. So if you know anybody that needs a summer job, or if you have an idea where we can get these posted, please let me know. Let's see. George will train with Andrew Chicky as we move through our timeline, but right now it's really getting the administrative piece, getting the personnel hired, revamping our pool brochure, and looking at fees and what those fees look like. Any questions about aquatics? Other programs, our preschool program is ongoing. We've had a couple cancellations in the past week with the weather and being at a level 3. That program, we anticipate those numbers increasing in March. Right now, I think we have 9 kids in the program. We can have a max of 14, but so far so good. We've got, let's see, we're considering opening the facility for rentals, possibly pod rentals. We've had requests from teams that can't necessarily practice outside right now. If we can do that with 10 or less, we'll consider those team requests to use the gymnasium, and then looking at renting the facility for receptions. I've talked to Jack Pepper about it. There is a way to do it, and we'd look at both facilities at being our Arts West and the community center, but really moving towards moving towards rentals and getting creative in how we can do that.
Terry?
Um,
Hey, Terry.
yeah.
I wonder, as you think about
Yes.
events like receptions, if you're giving any thought to ways to hold events outside, like maybe behind the community center or in other spaces that the city owns, while COVID is still happening, so that people could be socially distanced outside but still have a fun event.
Yeah, we're gearing towards outdoor recreation programs, and we're finding that with I'll use our Start Smart sports program. That program's been full during COVID, so the consumer comfort level. You're on point. Your consumer comfort level with outdoor programming seems to be much higher than indoor activities. So we're having conversations around what those outdoor what does outdoor programming look like.
I dare say that in 2021, people might be open to having an outdoor wedding reception. I know that, weather would make it a little sketchy, but I think a lot of people are more comfortable outside. So just something to think about as you plan for making things available for receptions.
Yeah. And looking at what our outdoor space, how we might host, a venue.
Yeah. Maybe the library would even let you use that interesting little amphitheater space right behind the library for a small event out on day when the library's closed, or, the city, there's quite a bit of land in the city. Municipal public land.
Right.
Yeah, the driving range when no one's driving.
Or a large bedrock rental tent inside the ice rink would be a great solid ground of a reception area.
Yeah. Let's see. Other things. We've finalized our new logo with red tail. I will send that to you rather than hold it until our next meeting. And we're moving forward with our website. We have a meeting tomorrow, and then meeting next Friday with Civic Rec. So our objective was to roll that out before spring, so we're on target there. Let's see. I think that's it that I have. Any questions?
Okay, very good. Greg, yeah, that was a great idea on that ice rink, because bedrock does not need to pound stakes into the ground. They do it with sandbags for that sort of thing. And the more space we can make available for rental, the more revenue we can bring in. So yeah. So as you're walking around all of our parks in the city, you see a place that might be usable for outside events, get that information to Terry. And that'll be something else we can offer on a menu of potential places for people. Okay, action items between now and next time. Daniel, I will send out an email to you and Greg, budget committee. We can figure out how we're going to divvy up our research. Travis, we'll talk with Brandon about the possible liaison to Arts Parks or to AMAC. I had number 3 down here that Catherine Ann was going to send us a document, but she's already sent that, so we can cross that off the list. And finally, number 4, if you can think of possible board members that for the Arts, Parks, and Recreation Advisory Board, send those Shauna's way so she has a good pool of candidates to get us a well-rounded, diverse board there. Terry, I see your finger. You have a question.
Friends of board. You said advisory. I just want to clarify for Beth.
I misspoke. Okay, anything for the good of the order? As promised, Travis, we're going to yield you back 17 minutes of your time, so you'll be able to get to that meeting on time tonight. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Greg, a second?
I can second that, or
Thank you, Shauna. Remember, our next meeting is Thursday, March 18th at 5:30. Meeting adjourned. Everybody be safe out there.